Here we are on beautiful Jones Street.
You saw Ted Jones.
I just love that we talked about. This is so great.
I mean, your friends obviously will tell you about them, but is there like a thread of like, all right, here's the orgy tonight?
You go in, there's no service. They cover up the cameras on your phones. You already know when they cover up the cameras on your phone, it's let go and let God. I went in there and I ended up like having sex with 6 guys in one night just there.
Would we need to protect Taiwan if China invades Taiwan?
That's the thing. That's the question. Like, and Biden had one of his classic, like, I forget when this happened like a year ago, his Bidenisms where he kind of just said like America would defend Taiwan, which is like would be a world war.
Is Michelle Obama gonna run?
There you go.
Okay,
comfy?
You're really comfy.
There he is. What's up, Lukas Thimm? Good to see you, bro.
You too.
Thanks for coming on the pod. How you been, man?
I'm great. I'm good. I mean, as I came in here, began as a cliche thing, the weather's really nice.
I know, dude. I just saw on Instagram that this was the warmest January in the history of the world.
Oh, don't you love that we keep breaking that record? Like, I know. The world's on fire.
Every month I see it, it's like a new record. So when did you move to New York from DC? Was this recent, or you've been in New York for a few years now?
I went to NYU.
Oh, okay.
So
I did know that.
I went to NYU, graduated 2016, went to LA for 2 years. Ooh. And I know. Then I came back. LA was a different time in my life.
Do you enjoy it?
I made some friends there. I think I did the whole industry thing. I learned a lot. But I also like had a girlfriend. Like I was a very different person. Not rephrase that. Very similar to where I am now, just living a very different life. But then I was itching to come back here, and I just finally got the reason to do it. And then I've been back here since 2018, and I don't want to leave.
Yeah, but going to LA, did you think that you'd spend the rest of your life there, or what?
Yeah, I kind of went in thinking like, okay, well, my girlfriend's there. I want to work in entertainment. I guess I have to be in LA, so I'm gonna. And then it didn't click. And then when I came back to New York, and I was hosting this digital talk show for Verizon Media, like that 10 people watched. Actually, it was pretty popular in the Philippines. But
was it actually?
We would post it on Facebook, and our only responses would be from like Filipino bots.
You know what? Isn't that? Yeah, well, I hear that sometimes. Like one of my buddies who has a podcast, he gets like a few hundred listens, but he's like, dude, it's so crazy. Like people in Morocco love my podcast. I'm like, what? It sounds weird.
The wonderful thing with the internet connects us beyond boundaries. But yeah, so I think I was itching to come back to New York, and now being back here, and the past, like I guess 6 years being back here, like I don't see myself anywhere else.
Let me ask you this: did you have an Apple Watch when you were in LA? Also,
no, I didn't.
I was gonna ask like how your steps compare to like LA and New York. You know what I mean?
Not even a question.
Night and day.
Night and day.
Did you have a car out there?
I did. I had a Prius that I hated.
But you find that you're obviously walking a lot more.
Well, that's one of the key components why I love New York. I love walking. Yeah. I will choose to walk everywhere.
Yeah.
And when I had a day job, I would walk to work every day. Like I just needed that break. It was, I don't go to therapy anymore. So it was like my therapy. Like I'm going to walk to work and avoid the craziness of the subway. And I love walking. So.
Do you feel like you solved your issues in therapy? You don't go anymore?
For sure. No. I walked to therapy being like, I solved it. It's done. No, I think I ended it because it was when I lost, right before the pandemic, and I lost my job that time. And I was like, I can't afford this anymore. So I had to stop. And then kind of like, COVID happened, and I got back to work, and I just became really preoccupied with other stuff in my life. But I'd go back if
whatever, if problems arise, which I'm sure they won't.
Yeah, no.
I'm sure they won't. But now you host a variety show monthly at Soho House.
Yes.
So what does that show entail?
So it's called So Many Issues with Lukas, and
that water's all you, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And it's basically a late night show, and it's an idea that I've had for a long time, and kind of, I guess in end of 2021, I just was really unhappy where I was in my life. And I was like, I'm just going to make the show that I want to do. And luckily Soho House gave me the chance, and it's now become a monthly show there. And essentially it's a variety show where like I'll do a traditional like late night show monologue where since the show is like so many issues with Lukas, issues in my life, but also issues I care about, I'll joke about what's happening. I'll have comics come on and do stand-up sets, and I'll interview someone. And that person could be anyone from like Alex Newell just won the Tony last year, or like Representative Jamal Bowman. Like I'll go celebrity, I'll go politician. And usually the interviews, of course, talk about their careers, but also like issues they care about. I interviewed Jill Kargman, who's a writer, and she was an actress for my last show. And the whole show was called the 30 over 30 show, making fun of the Forbes 30 and 30 list. It's her whole interview kind of centered around like, she hit it big as an actress at like 39. Like hit it big. She had her show on Bravo, but so it was all about like kind of succeeding into your 30s and beyond. And so each show kind of takes a different theme.
So you'll do a live interview with basically
Yes.
anyone you deem interesting.
Anyone I deem interesting.
It's kind of what we do in the podcast.
Yeah, I
here,
know. I
dude.
love it.
But you one time I was reading you interviewed Honey Boo Boo.
I did.
Okay, what for those of you who
Amazing.
don't know what we're talking about, I feel like she had I don't know what made her pop off. Maybe it was like
It was Toddlers and Tiaras.
but was it the initial like Instagram meme culture or Twitter meme culture that really brought her to the
100%. It was
Okay.
definitely at the gifts and
yeah.
and I think the meme and when she had her famous line on Toddlers and Tiaras, and then she got her own spinoff. And it's when I was doing the digital talks with Verizon Media, it was on this network called Build, which does not exist anymore. And we interviewed her and her sister Pumpkin. I don't know if that's her God-given name, but her name is Pumpkin. And it was about their new show. I think it was a new show at the time. And I came up with this game since she had that famous quote, "Everybody a little bit gay." I was like, "Honey Boo Boo, you're our like the prophet of our time. Like you're like you like
It's facts.
It's
True.
facts. Everyone's a little bit gay." And I was like, "We're gonna ask you a series of questions like that are important to like every American today." And apparently behind the scenes, her publicist grabbed my producer, being like, "Are they gonna ask about like serious things?" And then I was like, "Do you prefer pancakes or waffles?" And she gave the most thoughtful response back because that's what really matters to Honey Boo Boo.
Well, how old was she at that time?
She must have been like a teenager, so she's like 15, 16 by the time.
And how old is she now?
Good. I need a fact check on that.
Yeah, but like early 20s maybe or no?
No, okay, maybe I reversed. Maybe she was like 12, 13. She was definitely a tween. And now she's a full-on teenager, I think. We need a fact check on how old Honey Boo Boo is.
Okay, so just like looking over your whole array of things that you've done, you
Yeah.
seem to get pretty political yourself
do.
too sometimes.
I
so
really
can we
do.
talk about that, about issues that
Yeah.
you are focused on, and how did you get into that?
I would
Was
love-
it like being in DC?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it is. I mean, I I think I'm one of the traits. I'm pretty passionate. Some people would say obsessive person. Certain things kind of click to me, and I kind of hold on to them. I definitely realized when I left DC and went to New York, like how just inherently political my life was, just growing up there, and the way we would talk and with my friends and knowing what was going on.
Why is that, like going to school with diplomats?
I think so. Yeah, going to school with diplomats and like people who like families worked in government. Like I went to school with people whose parents were like high up in the Obama administration. Like, and it just was like,
Oh, wow.
very casual. The way I think LA kind of is with entertainment, like it just
Yeah.
is kind of a one industry town. And I think ultimately as I got older and older, because I loved entertainment. Politics was always kind of in my life. And then 2016 like broke me. Just like I couldn't process. I was like, how is this possible? How can that person who I deem most people do so awful beat someone who had her faults but like was a credible, experienced politician?
You mean like Trump versus
Hillary. Yeah.
versus Clinton.
So I just kind of like chose, I'm just going to dive in and try to learn as much as possible to try to understand what's going on. And now I feel like I like having conversations with people. Not everyone agrees. It's a good thing when you don't agree with me, as long as you come to me with good faith and want to have a conversation. And I feel like I want to use my platform to engage with people. And I try doing it through comedy. And sometimes I get serious and sometimes I'm dopey. And that's kind of just who I am. And hopefully people can walk away being like, okay, I may not agree with everything Lucas said, but I learned something. Because there's so much bullshit going on right now. And there's so much just, it's wild. And people understandably want to just check out. And like, why care? And I'm like, you can't check out, because if you check out, as we saw in 2016 and Trump's years, I believe like we're fucked. Like big problems arise. And so I just like try keeping people engaged in the fun ways that I think I'm able to do using whatever minimal talent I have.
What do you think a prominent issue is that you've been engaging in that other people, maybe like myself or people watching and listening, wouldn't really even know about or want to engage in?
Yeah. Oh, well,
And maybe they should.
well,
I'm sure there are many that you have, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think LGBTQ issues is always important to me. I post often about reminding people what's going on with these anti-trans bills and targeting of trans kids, these kids around the country, and the misinformation about gender-affirming care for minors. And it's horrifying because, trans people are like 1 million people in America, right? And then it's even smaller for kids. And like they're being targeted, and these kids and their parents are going through a lot of medical and professional help. And to have these Republicans vilify them and ostracize them and get in the way of their healthcare is so mind-boggling to me. Like, it just, so I often remind people, like, when we get frustrated with Democrats and with, or, you know, the higher politicians, like, it matters on a local level. It just matters because we can't allow what I see a political party is condoning this sort of targeting of such a vulnerable group of people. So for me, that's kind of gets me like worked up. Anything like that, like obviously abortion's a big one. We all know what's happened with Roe v. Wade overturns. Like that's something I'm reminding people like, wow, women are like second-class citizens in certain states in this country. That is wild. Like this is, and I just want to be like, we have to, when it gets frustrated when we disagree with Biden or whoever, it's like, okay, it's unfortunate. Really, we got to think bigger picture. Like you got to like, rights are at stake. So yeah, that's kind of always what I'm trying to.
Well, when you talk about rights, and you know, I also heard you talk about how people will discuss women and how long they've been in a certain industry, and they're like, oh, well, is she actually prepared? Like somebody like Kamala.
Oh my God, that's the big. Oh, it's so okay. Well, you're firing me up.
Give us the juice. Brother.
Okay, you're firing me up. It is to just okay. It's wild to me. I always say to people, are like, well, Kamala's not right. I go, first of all, name me 10 vice presidents and tell me what they did. And they go blank in the face because one,
Al Gore,
right? Al Gore, Dick Cheney who shot someone, and like it's like the recent, right? It's like, and then, but the point is like, she ran the second largest Department of Justice in the country after the federal Department of Justice. She was a senator, and she's the vice president of the United States, who is reportedly always in the room when important decisions are made. She's qualified. If something were to happen, she can serve as president, and there's also a team of advisors around her. I think it is so sexist to assume that she couldn't handle it. Like that's so. It's wild to me that we're still at this point where there's just a feeling that she can't handle it, and everything points to that she is completely capable of doing it. And I don't want to go in the weeds, but like there are successes she's had as vice president where like she's been, you know, visited over like 20 countries, met with world leaders, repaired fractious relationships. Like she was the one that met with Zelensky right before Russia invaded, telling him like, you need to get your act together. Like Russia's coming in. Like she's led the Small Business Council, the Gun Violence Council. She's like, oh my God, I'm really in the weeds. Like, former labor secretary, the way he talks about her, like how in touch she is with unions and where she talks to people, where she's like advocated for minority communities when it comes to like climate change stuff. Like it's wild to me, and none of that gets reported because all we care about is when she seems like she's like high off balls, like talking about like buses and everything, which I get is funny. Like it is funny. She's funny to me. Like she, like her dancing and her saying she loves Gen Z. Like I love when Mamala goes full like wackadoo kind of. It's funny to me, but like I think it's interesting. Like we criticize when women politicians aren't funny, and like Hillary was too stern or mean, or she was awkward, and then when we have someone like Kamala who's shown both, right? She can be stern and angry, and then she can be like funny and dopey. It's like we don't give them the same leeway. Like people are just multidimensional, and we're all kind of just let her be her, and you don't have to love her. But I get really annoyed with she is not prepared to be president. I think she's as prepared as any vice president was before her.
Well, you know what? I think also just simplistically for people who don't follow politics as much, it's so easy to be like, oh, well, totally. You know, she's a woman. There's not there hasn't been a woman president, and maybe people who don't know as much about politics are like, oh, well, there's a reason there hasn't been a woman president. Yeah. How do you feel about Nikki Haley? Haley. Well, on one hand, I fucking love that she is just staying in this race to fuck with Trump, because like there's really no shot she could win except if he like against Trump, right? Well, can she go independent at this point, or is it too late for her to decide that?
I think it's getting harder and harder for her. She needs like to get on the ballot in certain states as an independent candidate and not a part of like the Green Party or Libertarian Party is like hard to do, which is like RFK Jr. is having trouble doing it. So I think what I'm seeing in her, she has a lot of money in the bank. She's losing. She has no support among the Republican base, but obviously I think conservative independents and moderates like her. I think she's staying in it hoping that he gets convicted and she is the second most delegates and it kind of has to go to her. I think that's strategy, because if not, she's just being the ultimate troll to Trump, which I applaud. Like, go for it, girl. Like, you like tell everyone he's crazy. Like, it probably resonates more coming from her than from Joe Biden or anyone. Like, if she's saying it. Politically, I don't love her stance on LGBTQ issues. I don't love her. She's definitely kind of pro-war. I would say she's a little bit of a war hawk. So I know that's a fine line sometimes between Democrats and Republicans, but I think she's pretty aggressive on that front. And stuff she said about like sending National Guard troops to Mexico to go after the cartels, like would be a declaration of war in Mexico. Like it's weird. Like there's some stuff I'm like, I don't know if I particularly like her, but you know, go girl, go girl boss.
Okay, so who do you think can beat Trump? And also the second part of that question, is Michelle Obama gonna run?
I know, but people keep talking about that. You know what's funny? That's like motivated from like this right-wing conspiracy that like Obama's behind the scenes trying to get Michelle to run. So so I do not think Michelle Obama's gonna run. I think based off what I've read from her and listened to interviews, she really genuinely hates politics, like hates. Like, and she was not the kind of first lady like Hillary was, or she was great, but there was no sort of aspirational, like Hillary came in, the first thing she did and got a lot of shit for was healthcare reform, right? And Michelle kind of stayed away from anything sort of very much policy heavy. She's never shown any sort of like real interest to run. And that's why I think part of people love her, because people trust her, because she's like, I'm not politically motivated. I don't have any aspirations for power. So I don't think she will run. I hope I think she's great. I hope she comes out and keeps speaking, and I think she's awesome. Who do I think could beat Trump? Look, I think so. Basically, I was talking to a friend about it. Like, if I could wave a magic wand, I wish Joe Biden and Donald Trump were not running, because I would love for a new generation to run. I do think, but right now we live in this reality, like it does seem like it's Trump versus Biden. So I kind of always come back to like, I'm not going to do hypotheticals. Like, so I wrote this today on my Instagram, like, because a lot's happening with the whole report, the special counsel, Biden being an elderly man, his memory or whatever. It's like, Biden has proven to be a successful president and does not gotten everything right, but he's gotten a lot of achievements. And Trump has proven to be like an existential threat to our country. Like, that's the reality I live in. So I hope Biden can beat him again, If anything, though, but I think Biden said this too. I think any Democrat could beat him. I think Gretchen Whitmer could beat him. I think Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania, the governor of Pennsylvania, could beat him. I think Gavin Newsom in California, I think is a cool guy.
Can beat Trump or beat Biden?
Beat Trump. I think I'm less bullish on, like, I think it's going to be close, because if you look at the last election, it was like Biden won by 7 million votes, popular vote, but like it was only like 40,000 votes in the electoral college. Like, it was really close. I think it's gonna be close again, but I also really do think, like, when I look at the polling, and I always take it with a grain of salt, I think independents and women voters are really turned off by him. And the more we get to see him, the more of his like rambling about whales and about confusing Nikki Haley and Nancy Pelosi and all of that breaks through. I think, I don't think he has that support. But I think the problem is, if people also hate Biden, they will not vote or vote third party. And that's when Trump can win. Because Trump is never going to clear 47% of the vote. Never. Biden's got 51% of the vote last time. But if people vote third party and they don't vote, then Trump could win by just getting 46% of the vote.
But Trump being taken off of a few states' ballots as of now, would more states in the future continue to take his name off the ballot, therefore making it
that's what the Supreme Court's deciding right now. And I don't think they're going to allow it. I think they're trying.
So would they put him back on the ballots?
Yeah.
Where did they take him off?
Colorado, Maine. Yeah. Well, first of all, like, I think this whole, I totally understand the merits of doing it. I think he incited an insurrection. I don't think people to run for president, but like, you're in this situation.
Talking about January 6th.
January 6th. Oh, what a day.
That was wild.
Do you remember that day? I remember being at my computer.
I was just so disappointed too. I was like, I don't even give a shit really about politics. I was like, this is a mess.
It's a mess. Wait, apparently the funniest thing, even though like Trump obviously did nothing, he just sat there and watched. I love the report, him being like, he just thought it was like really white trash. Like, he hated, like, it was like how like everyone looked trashy. Like, yeah, it looked trashy. People shitting on Nancy Pelosi's desk. I mean, that is a wild moment that we lived through. That
so embarrassing.
so embarrassing and horrific, but that embarrassing. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what I was talking about, but
okay. Let me ask you this though: has there been some sort of? I don't want to ask you if you miss Trump, but is there been like enough time in between him leaving office and now him running, where like people would maybe have more of a soft spot to be like, wow, okay, this guy like really, he's very outspoken and he says things that are ridiculous. He's done things that are morally and obviously wrong, but now he's coming back and people are like, oh, well, we miss America being the leader who wants to stand up to China, and Russia, and North Korea.
Totally. No, I mean, the thing is, I think he is the greatest self-marketer I think that's ever lived. I mean, it's incredible that just like, people have forgotten the chaos, and
I seem to, and I outwardly have spoken about Trump on this podcast, being like, you are such an idiot. Like you're being such an asshole. And now I'm like, oh, well, he was outspoken in a good way, maybe.
Right. And I totally get that. And I also understand, like, the President Biden promised, he promised a few things, and I could walk through where he succeeded. But one of them was stability. It doesn't seem stable. I totally get that. I totally get it. The world is on fire. But I think what the reminder is, it's a couple of things. We have to remind people of the chaos, the daily chaos of the tweets and calling Kim Jong-un Rocket Man.
Dude, sorry to mean to interrupt, but one of the funnier things was, I think a reporter asked him, do you ever regret like some of the tweets that you said? And he's like, yeah, all the time. He's like, I'll be up at like 3 a.m. I'll send a tweet, wake up 3 hours later. And he's like, fuck, why did I say that tweet?
I love that being the former president have the same sort of mentality about like things I post on social media. It's like, oh, wake up, damn, I shouldn't eat it.
You're like, fuck. I'm not the same person I was 3 hours ago.
Like, why did I post that thirst trap? No, that's too slutty. Delete. But yeah, but that's mean. I'm not a president. I think the thing is, you have to remind people, it's like, yes, he's outspoken, and yes, he seems to be a fighter, but really he's a fighter for himself. I mean, his family made hundreds of millions of dollars while he was in office. He stood up to China, but he started a trade war that didn't really produce results. Biden has actually produced results where, like, American manufacturing is up. We're out competing China. Our economy is growing faster than China. It's like all these things that Trump. So you hear people talk about China and ways like, but actually didn't deliver. Like, oh, he could end the war in Ukraine. Well, Trump has basically metaphorically sucked Putin's dick, like, for the past 10 years. And remind the time where he stood on the stage with Putin and said, I don't believe America is intelligent agency. I believe that guy. I believe Putin, who's a dictator who's trying to wipe Ukraine off the planet and kills journalists. Also, like, I think we have to remind people that the chaos of Trump, and people, I understand people think it's like, oh, well, it'll break the system. It's not. It's for himself. He wants to get back in office primarily to save himself from conviction. And I think that's an argument that we have to say.
Do you think that we need to have a relationship with North Korea or any other countries in particular?
Oh, like, you mean countries like...
Yeah, that has a dictator or that can be a global threat.
No, that's interesting. I mean, that reminds me... Oh my God, I'm really showing my nerdness right now.
No, dude, we love it.
But like, that was a big debate between Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton in the Democratic primary in 2007, where, like, do you have relationships with our adversaries? And I think Obama argued that you kind of have to, in a way.
Definitely.
And I do agree with that. And I think that is why, like, Iran is always brought up a lot, especially right now, what's going on. And I agreed with that President Biden was trying to renegotiate the nuclear deal that drastically decreased their capabilities of making nuclear. Like, I don't think you could just disengage from them, and then when shit hits the fan, you're like, oh, what's going on? How are we going to fix it? It's just like, you know, this is the world. We have to work with each other or have some sort of relationship. And like, it's very foreign policy, one of those things that's so fucking difficult. Like Saudi Arabia, like, is a dictatorship. Like, they do bad things, but like, and I don't agree with this, but like, it's happening right now in the Middle East. Like, we kind of need them. Like, we need their help, like, to help negotiate a ceasefire. Like, it's wild. It's why I kind of actually don't talk about foreign policy a lot, because the issue I always say, like, I don't have a lot of expertise in it, and it's so complicated. I feel like it's so nuanced, and people get so fired up. I'm just like, so fired up. So I'm just always like, I'm reading, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm trying, like, don't kill me. I'm going to make mistakes on this because it's way over my head sometimes.
To talk about, I guess, over the last, I'd say like 25 years, do you think the biggest global event that has affected all of these different personalities and countries has been 9/11 initially?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, like, I mean, I think 9/11 was this moment where, you know, because Trump...
And if you have any conspiracies about it.
Oh, you mean the fake app? You mean it wasn't real? You mean it was?
I don't know. Or somebody had to do something with it. You know, whatever. We got to go to war. Insurance.
I will say the Bush administration took advantage of it. I mean,
and so did your boy Dick Cheney. Well, not your boy. But, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, my boy. I am a big Dick Cheney fan. Oh, I want to go hunting with him. Yeah. Do you imagine if I just came out fully gay for Dick Cheney?
Yeah.
Gay?
Pop up the picture right here.
I love
Lucas
Dick.
And Dick Cheney.
It makes sense.
Shooting a dildo.
Yeah. Gay icon Dick Cheney. No. I mean, 9/11 was catastrophic for so many reasons. I mean, obviously, lives lost and it's horrific. But like,
Well, I mean, in terms of like having now we're worried about North Korea having the weapons of mass destruction and
because basically what happened is like the whole world came to defend us. Like the Article 5 of NATO was evoked. All our allies joined in this war.
What's that?
So Article 5, Trump talks about a lot, like why he doesn't like NATO. Like no, which basically when an attack on one country is an attack on all. So it's like that's what Biden. What he's done successfully is expand NATO in Europe to try to deter Russia.
And Clinton put that together.
Yes, it was a big Clinton thing. And so like the whole world rallied around us, and then Bush decides to go to Iraq with this lie that they have weapons of mass destruction, and
quickly, sorry, I keep interrupting, but do you think that he knew it was a lie, or with the best amount of information that he had, saw what?
Maybe I don't know enough to talk about it, but it seems like it was. Based off what I've read, it seems like it was fabricated. I would, someone can correct me on that. I think historians report that the Bush administration wasn't truthful in every way of I think their assessment of the situation. And I think the whole thing is like it diverted money and lives and attention to the Middle East and created this like vacuum that enabled the development of like ISIS and all these terrorists, but also like allowed North Korea to proliferate and Iran, and it just distracted the U.S. and also vilified us. I mean, people stopped trusting us. It's the biggest foreign policy blunder for sure the past 50 years.
Okay, so talking about NATO 5.
NATO 5?
Is that what is that?
Article 5. So basically like NATO. So NATO is the alliance primarily of us and European countries. And it's the Article 5 says they're going to attack on one as an attack on all. Ukraine is not part of NATO. It wants to be. Russia does not want it to be. And
did they have time to sign up for NATO at a particular moment in history, or no?
I think they weren't included. They weren't like allowed. I mean, Russia's been really adamant about them not joining NATO, and that's part of the reason why Putin wanted to go in now. And the fear is, which is why you had like Finland and Sweden. Finland has joined. Sweden's trying to. Is because there is fear that if Russia takes Ukraine, like they'll keep going. And a deterrent is that if Russia does attack a NATO country, like Putin doesn't want war with us, really. Not like that. I mean, it would be a world war. It would be catastrophic. So it kind of is what holds whatever fabric of this international order together, kind of. But yes, Article 5, it's only been evoked, I think, once, and it was 9/11. And because we were attacked by the Taliban.
Obviously a deep question, but like, what's the solution to have Putin stop war on Ukraine?
I mean, good question. I mean, that's the thing. It's so relevant because right now, I don't know if you saw, like, basically, so Biden.
Well, I saw that Tucker Carlson just did an interview.
Oh my God! Apparently, Putin just like talked about, like, made up this whole history of Russia and how they own Ukraine. And
did it come out yet, or maybe as you guys are listeling to it?
It came out. Apparently, it's just like. Tucker's a useful idiot, and Putin just like ran circles around him, but yeah, I mean, so Biden wanted more aid for Ukraine, for Israel, and for civilians in Gaza, and then Republicans were like, we can't do that until we protect our border. He's like, fine. So he put a group together and he negotiated this border deal, which is like a really conservative border. I mean, like Democrats got some stuff in it, like work permits and helping our Afghan allies or whatever, but like it was really heavy Republican shit. Like they gave up a lot.
What's something that they give up?
Like decreasing the amount of asylum allowed, like really going after making asylum a lot harder for people to declare. Basically, it's law. You can come to this country and be like, I declare asylum, and you're like, okay, so you have to like figure a court date and you can stay here. And Republicans hate that, so they kind of found ways to try to cut that. They increased funding for like the border wall and border security, very like border heavy Republican wants. And some stuff is good, like more work permits, cutting down the amount of time, like adding money to more like judges and lawyers. So like the asylum process can take quicker. So like that's good stuff. Like some stuff, like the border's a mess, like, but anyway, then Trump comes out and says, like, don't vote for it because he wants the chaos. He wants to run on it. He thinks that's how he can beat Biden. And Republicans it was crazy to watch. I don't know why I was so surprised. They all fell in line and they killed this agreement that they got so much of their wish list. And the point is, now they're just trying to pass the foreign aid part. And the foreign aid for Ukraine is really important. They need more money. They kind of fucked it, and they had this like offensive last year where they like had a whole new military strategy. Didn't really work out, but they're really running out of military supplies and money. And if they don't have enough, like they're just going to lose.
Are we the leading country in giving them funds? Ukraine, like by far?
I think so. But the European Union just announced they're going to give like $50 billion over the next, like, a certain amount of time. I'm not going to say a number, I probably get it wrong, but we are the leading I don't know, funder, sponsor, whatever. But the European countries are stepping up. That's part of the success of Joe Biden, how he's encouraged European unions to break ties with Russia's like the gas pipeline, like the energy, like how to put more funds to Ukraine. And you know, the argument is to be made like it's a great we spend so much fucking money anyway, and a ridiculous amount of money on defense. So stupid. Like it's such a small fraction of really how much we spend on defense. And it's like a great investment because like no American troops are on the ground. It's kind of deterrent. Obviously it's fighting Russia, but also deterring China, which wants to take over Taiwan fully. Like it's all this like stuff going on that like, it's unfortunate. Oh yeah. Like back to like the Iraq war and stuff. Like that blunder is the reason why, understandably, so many Americans are so fed up with America getting involved in foreign stuff, which I totally understand because it was such a shit show. So then you're like, you see Ukraine, which there's a legitimate case to me. Like it's for our own interest and also their interest. Like they're getting, it's horrific over there. We should support them. But I understand when Americans hear like, why are we giving them more money? Why, like, you know, why are we giving more money when I can't afford my healthcare? And it's a wild thing.
And then I think that's also on the front, like you see Mayor Adams said that he was going to give $53 million in debit cards to migrants in the city. That's also something that I guess people, even in New York, are frustrated about.
I get it. Like it's like you hear that and you're like, and you're struggling and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And the thing is, I always say it's like, well, I think we have room to do both. And I think, and at least Joe Biden, Democrats have tried. They got a lot done, but not as much, I think, as they wanted to make healthcare more affordable and to, you know, raise minimum wage and to do all these things that could really materially improve the lives of Americans. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's like, I fall in the line, like, I just read about Ukraine. I'm like, it's like, shit, we can't let Russia just like take over this country. It's so bleak. To
go back to what you were saying, would we need to protect Taiwan if China invades Taiwan?
That's the thing. That's the question. Like, and Biden had one of his classic, like, I forget when this happened, like a year ago, his Bidenisms, where he kind of just said like America would defend Taiwan, which is like would be a world war. Like, I have been reading, like, I don't think, because China's not a great state right now economically, I don't think they want to do that. I think they get upset. They got really upset when Nancy Pelosi visited. They get upset when anyone makes Taiwan like an independent country. I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know what we would do. And I think that's part, again, back to Ukraine. Like, it is one of those things that we have to make sure Ukraine wins. So China looks at Russia as like, oh, we don't want to do that. Like, look, Russia's like a shit show. Like, they've lost so many people. The economy's in the tank. Like, we can't risk a proxy war with the U.S. and stuff, but it's totally scary. I mean,
you know what? It's just because it seems like it's one of these world leaders hits the red button, and then that's
totally hits the red button. I mean, the nuke stuff. I just read an article about how like Xi Jinping has actively tried to increase China's nuclear capabilities so they're more intimidating. Like, nukes are Oppenheimer, man. I don't know if you saw the movie.
I gotta see it. I haven't seen Barbie either.
You haven't seen it either?
No, and they came out the same day.
You said Barbie and I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. Are you gonna try to see it before the Oscars? Oppenheimer? You should.
I should.
It's like gonna win.
But like 3 hours, right?
It's so long.
I need to like lock my phone in my freezer or something.
I have a thing, unless there's a dragon in it, like Lord of the Rings, it should not be 3 hours long. There was no dragon. Big explosion, but no dragon.
But could it have been I guess, and Joe Coy, I guess that was saying that it could have been an hour. It could have been an hour longer, which he was joking about when he said that when he bombed at the Oscars. Were you a poli sci major?
No, I wasn't.
No,
I know. I was in communications and media.
No way.
Yeah, no.
So what makes you so infatuated with politics and not being in the? I mean, you are in the politics world, you know, but being like in a position of government.
Yeah. You know, I think. Because I had moments when I thought like, oh, maybe I should go work for the campaign or
what campaign?
Like the Biden campaign. I volunteered. Like, I was unemployed. It was COVID. Like I called voters. It was actually really funny. Like
what'd you say?
I'd be like, hi, my name is Lukas Thimm. I'm calling with the Biden Harris campaign. I just want to know if you're planning on voting. And
did you get a lot of
like hell no's, a lot of no. But then I would get like woman like Deborah, like in Florida, she's like, I'm voting for Joe Biden because Donald Trump's crazy. And I was like, girl, I love you.
She knows about it. Yeah.
And then I would go like full, like, oh my God, girl, yes. Yes. Like, you know, I straighten my voice, deep my voice. And then you go like, oh yes, queen. Like, yeah, Joe, we'll pop Biden. Let's do it. But that was fun. I think ultimately I come back to, as much as I love it, I really love entertaining people. And I've always loved making people laugh. And I've always loved being an idiot. And I look at Jon Stewart and Colbert and the idols of mine, and I joke I want to be the gay Jon Stewart, the gay Stephen Colbert, because like they bring so much joy, but they have such authority of how they speak and what they know because they're so smart, and they prove just like how you can inspire people, educate people through comedy, entertainment. I just always felt like that was more my calling than being involved with direct like policy work of government. I also think it's like, I don't know if my voice is particularly needed in that area. I think like, I love supporting, I've had a lot of city council members on my show, like really progressive people, Che Orsi and Tiffany Caban, like, you know, LGBTQ people of color who are now in government. And I'm like, oh, those people I want to promote and advocate for, because I want to see more of them. And I want to see more people that are different in positions of power who are writing policy and leading people. And I felt like I just am more situated to twirl around on stage and then rant about healthcare and then I don't know. Like, so
I want to talk about your transition from. Did you go from DC to LA or New York to LA?
DC to New York to LA, back to New York.
And you were dating a girl at NYU initially. Yeah. So when did you come out?
I came out at 25. So I came out.
Oh wow.
I know. Basically, I would mark my 25th birthday as when the process really began, because when I really officially broke up with her. But January of 2019 was when I was like, I hit the ground running. I was like, I had no time to waste, and you know, slutting it up. Mm-hmm. Actually, I thought I was slut, that I'm way worse now.
No, well, gay guys, but they're pretty slutty.
Oh, we are. I mean, well, men are slutty. So then you put men together.
Yeah, yes.
Oh my God, I've had like when I see people like my body count, it's like 6 people. I'm like, girl, I've had 6 people one night before. Like I've been to like a dark. You know what a dark room is?
No.
Okay, so at certain like gay parties, there's this room. I fucking love. We went to talking about NATO Article 5. So now I'm gonna talk about like fucking guys in a dark room. So there's always like but this is who I am. Like this is the range, right? So there's always like a room at these like big circuit parties where it becomes like an orgy essentially. And not at every gay party, there's certain levels, but like the ones that like happen at these big warehouses in Brooklyn or these venues. Like I went to one at Basement. Basement's a club under the Knockdown Center. And it was
in Queens?
In Queens.
Okay.
It was like a former like glass factory. So like it's given dark. It's just dark. You go in, there's no service. They cover up the cameras on your phones. You already know when they cover up the cameras on your phone, it's let go and let God. Like, you know, it's gonna be a mess. And in between the 2 main rooms was like this maze, giving very like Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, like very like intimidating. And like I went in there and I ended up like having sex with 6 guys in one night just there. Like it was wild.
I mean to get too personal, but like with condoms, or how does that work?
No. Thank God for PrEP. I would have died.
But guys don't really need to wear condoms, right? Like
not really. I mean, look, I think I'm a big proponent of talking about STDs because I just want to destigmatize it. Like I talk about my act. I've had oral gonorrhea like 4 times. Every time I go out, I make out with someone, I somehow get it. I don't know. Like I think there's the invention of PrEP is absolutely incredible. And
what's PrEP?
PrEP is basically this pill you take daily that prevents, I don't know the right terminology, preventing HIV basically. And it's an amazing invention that has completely allowed, like I talked to my uncle who's gay about it. Like he was gay in my age in the early 90s. So like he always talks to like he's so surprised that my friends and I are so casual about having penetrative sex, because it was a big thing for him. Because like you wouldn't do it back then unless like you definitely had a condom or like you knew you were dating the guy. Like for me, it's like I would say like 99% of the people I'm friends with or I know I've interacted or on PrEP. So AIDS is not like a problem anymore. So we don't really wear condoms, and I think that the consequence of that is that you can't get an STD. You just have to be careful about checking it. And I go regularly, and as long as it's consensual and it's fun, and I'm known to have fun with a lot of couples. I'm the most popular third on the West Side.
Wait, gay couples?
Gay couples.
So you're oh my God, so you're the third wheel.
The third wheel, and I shine. It's a skill to be the third, and you like.
You never feel awkward though? You're like, oh, these guys got such a good relationship and now I'm just popping in? Or they give you a lot of attention?
That's the...
Because then wouldn't they get mad at you?
No, well, that's the thing. That's the thing. See, the best case is that they genuinely love each other. And this is purely physical. And I'm just the cherry on top. And they love the cherry on top. And they want to just throw me around and play with me. And I'll top, I'll bottom, I'll do whatever. Like I'm at their service. And that's my job. The worst case is, which has happened, is when you are the glue making like them attracted to each other. Because then it's like, it's very awkward. I've had moments with couples being like, having to be like, I need to stop hooking up with you because your husband is sitting right here and doing nothing. And I feel so awkward. He's just staring at us. That's worst case. You'd rather the couple who genuinely likes each other and this is just a fun sexual act. Totally. And this is just a fun time.
And do you find people on Grindr, the app, or how do you find
I'm gonna be
couples?
honest, I don't really go to the apps anymore. I'm technically on all of them. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you see me on them, that's probably me. Like, like especially if you want to talk about like, you know, foreign policy, I'm there. But I don't like it. I don't like the apps. I just don't like how I'm a sum it up, I'm a vibe guy. I really like meeting people in person. So I don't need to have sex every night. I just go out, and if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, It's like,
what's the average body count for somebody who's been gay for, I guess, somebody like yourself, 3 to 5 years?
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? Because there's a gay comedian who I work with, and he was saying that some of the guys that he knows like are in the hundreds after just like two or 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot, but that may be correct. I mean,
because I guess on one night, like you said, it was like that was people. Like 1 month, it could be 50 people.
Yes, it could be potentially. I know, it's wild. It's exhausting sometimes.
But it sounds fun.
It is fun,
and also like you know the ball is in either guy's court, right? You know, it's like if it's a guy and a girl, usually the ball is in the girl's court, and then the guy kind of has to win her over, or whatever it is.
Yeah, no, it does. It's fun. I mean, I think you know, when I'm reading more about like gay literature and history in the 70s or whatever, like there's when I talk to my straight friends, they love hearing my stories, and I love, you know, I do my stand up, so like I love kind of performing it, and I don't feel like they're othering me. I like feel like it's fun, but there's this like sexual freedom. It's like you just are not held up by these certain like stigmas or what you think is correct or right, the way to act, and like it's just so fun. That's why like Fire Island is so fun. Like, because it's like you get there.
the Pines.
Oh my God, it's the Pines. It's like you're just in a bathing suit and you're just running around, and it feels like it's like, this is the cliche, but you're at a gay summer camp, and that
sounds so fun.
It's so fun.
Wait, is it like guys with Speedos though mostly?
Speedos. I'm not a Speedo guy though. I'm not a Speedo guy because I feel like I'm just not there yet. I'm not there in my journey. I think it shows too much. And I like being because some skin could definitely like pop out. And I've seen that happen. I'm like, I just want to be a little bit like I like the look on their face when they see me fully naked. Sure. Like I don't want to just think they already know.
Yeah, a little bit for imagination.
A little imagination. Yeah, but Fire Island is so fucking fun. It's
So what does Fire Island look like on a typical, I don't know, is it like Saturday in the summer?
Saturday in the summer,
and it's all gay on the Pines? I've never been to Fire Island.
So the Fire Island is like different parts to it. The Pines is very gay male heavy, and Cherry Grove right next to it is more lesbian. But there's a whole like rivalry, joking rivalry of it. But it's actually really rich history. But like on typical Saturdays, like you wake up in your house, you've all like rented a house. Like sometimes you do like quarter shares. You have like a house for a week, like 4 times the summer or whatever. And you're probably hungover from the night before, because Fridays are always the underwear party in Cherry Grove, which is exactly how it sounds. You go in your underwear.
What kind of underwear though? You in like the
Calvin
go
anything
Kleins
you want. You've seen. I wear my Calvin Kleins, and I wear like the trunks. Again, I'm a modest boy, but people are on jock straps, they're in thongs, they're in whatever they want. Whatever makes you feel comfortable. It's like.
Do you ever judge some of these guys that are like too slutty? You're
no.
Like, no.
I don't. I mean, look, I think I really tried to be. Not saying my friends don't. Not saying like I really. I judge more people basically if they're basic personalities and like don't offer any, are just boring. Like I don't care how feminine you are or how masculine you are or what you look like, wear, whatever. As long as you are good and fun and having a fun time and a positive force, I love it. And that's what I love, being gay and seeing that and being around all of that, especially in Fire Island. But yeah, on a Saturday you wake up like you're hungover. You might go to the beach and then lunch happens and then there's a pool party somewhere that you crash or you're invited to. And then the best thing starts happening around like 4 or 5 o'clock is low tea. And you go to the Blue Whale, which is this big bar, and everyone's there. It's like,
why is it called low tea? Low tide, maybe?
Maybe. Oh, you know what? I should know this.
Yeah, you should.
No, I should. I did probably just forgetting right now, but like it's low T.
Yeah, you go to the bar.
You go to the bar, everyone's there. Like, so it's just when you know, like everyone's on the island who's there, and like you're some houses come in their looks, and some just wear their bathing suits. I'm always kind of very casual. And you have tea, you get drunk, you go back to your house, have dinner, get more drunk.
How many people are in your house?
It depends. Like, I mean, like you can really stop because these houses are fucking ridiculously expensive, of course.
So are they like bunk beds?
There's some are bunk beds. Some are like normal, like family homes. Like, so like I'm going this summer and I'm going to have 6 guys total in my house for a week.
Okay.
And it's like, so I'll probably share a bed with my friend. Like, and
you've hooked up with all these guys?
No. So I have, there are some friends I've hooked up with, but now, for the most part, I think it's been good. I do have friends I'm just very platonic with, and I think that's actually creates for a healthy gay friend group because I know some that are very sexually intertwined, and I think a lot of it just becomes intense.
Yeah.
And I have had friends who I've hooked up with I no longer do, and I've had friends who we've hooked up like once, never did it again, or But for the most part, like this house, I'll be everyone's. 2 are dating, and then we're just all platonic. But
so is there any ever tension between like guys that are like 2 of them are dating, or maybe they would get jealous? Like, how does that look?
I think maybe there's sometimes tension. I mean, there's sometimes jealousy because it's hard to find a boyfriend. I think it's hard.
Is it because like nowadays with all the distractions, the apps, and
I think
sex parties?
Yeah. I think, especially the New York mentality, I think there's always there's a mentality, there's always someone better around the corner. So guys are harder. They don't want to settle down. I think, some guys want monogamy, some guys don't. And I think, to be honest, there is moments of loneliness, even when you're around all these people all the time and you can have sex so quickly. I think you sometimes, I don't feel any sort of addictedness, but I can look at my friends who are, either married or in relationships and be envious and be like, this is so sweet. They get to come home and see each other and be around each other and have each other and experience sometimes the craziness of going out together. Cause like I've gone out with friends and they're like casually dating and it's so cute to see like they have each other. I never had that. I had one guy I was dating and we're now really, really good friends. And one of the most fun nights I had is when we went together to this big gay circuit party called Horse Me Disco. And I kind of like had him for the night and we were making out. It was so fun.
Yeah, but were you guys hooking out with other people too or no?
No, not at that point.
And how does that work? Like, obviously, a lot of guys would be coming up to you guys. Do you just tell them like, no, we're not hooking up with anyone else. This is my
no. I mean, the thing is, it's funny that couples are targeted at these things. I actually have been more successful sometimes when I'm with another guy appearing as a couple than I am by myself. Like, and I think. Yeah,
it's kind of like you want what you can't have.
Right, kind of. I think what's happened to us, like they either they like one of us more. I've had guys actually try to like bump me out of the way and I'm like, bitch.
What does that mean?
Like I would be like dancing with someone and someone come in and like almost like swoop. I'm like, girl, no. Like my hand could be in the person's. Like I'm like, what are you doing?
Hand in the person's.
Like fans. Like no, I'm obviously this is mine. This is shoo. Like Yeah, I think you have to tell them like not today, I'm not interested.
So how do you find these parties? Obviously, I mean your friends obviously will tell you about them, but is there like a thread of like, all right, here's the orgy tonight?
Like, I'm not like on the orgy thread, but there are those. There are definitely those. I mean, there's like emails, like email lists you can get like of all of the queer centric parties. My friend Terrence, who's NY Social B on Instagram, is like a very successful party promoter and hoster, and like so people like him, my friend Lennox, like there are people in this community that are like they are known for nightlife, and so if you follow them, you are getting like the parties they're hosting, and so there's like big dance parties. And then when in terms of the after party, it's like always just kind of like you just hope you're with the right crowd who kind of knows what's going on. And
do gays stay out later than?
I mean,
when you say afters.
Yeah, I mean, I consider 3 a.m. like an early night. I know.
Bruh.
Yeah, so like that Brooklyn night when I did the orgy, the darkroom night, like I did not get home until 7 a.m.
Are there just like a lot of poppers, a lot of drugs?
A lot of poppers.
For those of you who don't know what poppers are, Lucas, go ahead.
Poppers aren't they VCR cleaner? They
have it in like a little thing, rush. And you smell it and you're like,
oh! You snort it
and apparently it loosens your butt.
Apparently loosens your butt. It does. And then you feel this most like intense heat that takes over you that literally you just go
Dude.
like it's
me and my buddy Squigs did it one time. We were at a party. We both sniffed it, and we were just both standing there going, ah!
It's amazing. And
we weren't doing it loose in our butt. Not that particular time, but it's just like insane.
No, but I do it for both because when you do it, when you're on the dance floor and someone shoves poppers in your face and you snort, you just literally, I'll say me, I need to grab someone as quickly as possible and make out with them. And it's like this incredible just this rush of like heat, and it's so much fun. I've killed so many brain cells.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you go through one of those whole bottles, like you feel it in the back of your head, like a huge headache.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I don't know how I remember like certain like policies Hillary Clinton proposed in 2008 because I've done so much drugs. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of going out. But the gay community is drugs and kind of learning that's part. I think there's a whole journey of coming out, and it's like the emotional journey of like learning to accept yourself, be proud of being gay. Not like I went through that. Like I wasn't just like, I'd be like, oh, if I wish I could go back to my girlfriend, I could. But like, no, I came to being like, I love being gay. I'm proud to be. I'm thankful for it. But there's also the emotional, like there's the sexual journey, and then there's like the substance journey, like understanding like what you want to take and what you like. I know I don't like K. Like I don't like K. I don't like what it does to me. I don't like the side effects of
ketamine.
Ketamine, yeah, like. Don't like it. I don't particularly like cocaine. Like there's some things that I just know, but there's other drugs like that. I'm like, okay, I know Molly is super fun. Like that I do well on it. It heightens me. It doesn't. I've never had a bad come down. Like it's so you just kind of have to learn that on the journey.
Before we get out of here, man, what an array of topics. I love it, dude. You're great.
No, you are great. This was
you,
amazing because I was like, do I need to prepare for anything? He's like, no, we're just chatting. I was like, great. I don't know what we're gonna talk about. You just successfully conveyed to everyone exactly who I am. Like we went deep about policy for like half an hour and then just talked about orgies.
And I forget what the trading question was. I think it was like a NYU to LA
I loved
or whatever.
it.
But you ever see yourself going back to LA before we get out of here?
For the right job. If the right opportunity came. If I felt like this was I operate, I will take any opportunity that I feel like advances me in any sort of way, like maybe not exactly in my career as an entertainer, maybe it's as a producer or whatever. Like if the right opportunity came, I would go. I just really love New York, and like I feed off it. I just don't see myself.
Yeah, you're a New York guy.
I'm a New York guy. My energy. So like LA, I overwhelm people. They look at me, they're just like.
Like you're moving too fast.
Moving too fast. I was like,
oh, we're just going to CVS today. That's it.
I know.
That's all we're doing.
So like you do LA, you plan on your one activity of the day, and that's it because it takes you 5 hours to do it.
The hike and then CVS.
Hike and then CVS.
Running Cannon.
And then you pick up a sweet green or sugarfish if you want to splurge, and that's the day.
That's it.
So yeah, maybe. I don't think so.
Amazing. So this episode won't be out in time for your show on February 15th.
Yes.
Do you have your March date yet?
Yeah, March 13th and then April 17th. So I'm once a month at Soho House.
Amazing. So we're going to pop up your Instagram. Please let us know where we can find you and anything else that you want to plug. Go ahead.
You follow, honestly, Instagram's the best place, which you're seeing my handle right now. It's just my name. Follow me. Follow the show page. I post a lot of like video content from the show on that page. And yeah, just reach out to me there. I'm sadly always on Instagram. I feel like I'm just posting way too much. So yeah, see me there.
It's great. It's great.
And come to a show if you can.
Of course. Me or them?
You both.
No, I want to stop
Non-members
by.
are able to come. You can DM the show page, and we have room for non-members. It's not just Soho House people. Believe me, I wouldn't allow that. Like it's open to anyone. So let me know.
Love it. Lucas, again, thank you so much for
fun.
coming on. I really appreciate it. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you guys learned something. We'll see you next time. Peace.
I just love that we talked about. This is so great.